Portions of the program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yo, man, it's racial.
Well, expand.
I like that. Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? It knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table. Now, why is that?
I don't know, but I'm sure you'll tell me, my brother.
Sure, you're right. Look, it's because of the white man's fear of the sexual potency of black.
No,
What are you?
I'm black and beautiful.
What is your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
Suppose I had some money in my pocket. Suppose I gave you $1 to say that you're an American Negro. This is money now. Money talks. Money talks. This dollar. And if you don't say it, you don't get it. You're an American Negro, aren't you?
No.
You won't have any money. You know you need money, don't you?
Yes.
You need money to live, don't you?
Yes.
All right. All you have to say, Leon, is that you're an American Negro. Aren't you an American Negro?
Portions of the program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, how's y'all doing, everybody? Again, this is your host, the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. Welcome to another, what they saying, new year, but we're going to talk about this new year. As to 2021 is the count that they saying, right? They said it's 2021. What year really is it? We don't know. We just following along because that's the way we have to do it, right? According to how they tell us, right? So anyway, first and foremost, I want to thank for all of you who stayed through that didn't quit on me unless YouTube cut you off. I'm going to thank each and every one of you. We're back 2021 and hopefully we're going to be able to get and do this right because, you know, they've been doing what they've been doing, but we're not going to worry about that. But anyway, any of y'all should be in the house who are my day ones. I see that term is out there now. My day ones. I want to say what's good to you and yours. And matter of fact, we're going to talk about this because, you know, after y'all have sat there and celebrated, a lot of people, again, 2020 in itself, that count did a lot of damage, especially when they keep talking about in these websites and papers and on news, seeing like black people was the main culprit of the attack by a virus that came from China, right? And so how they told us all that. But being it that the fact that we had an event that happened as they call the winter solstice, right? But that winter solstice also had some other things and tied into it because, again, the alignments of the planets and looking at the history of that is talking about how there's this new coming of a new empire. Now, is that good or bad? We don't know. But we as black Americans, and again, you may not be black American. That doesn't mean you cannot listen, participate in something. But this is personal when it comes to us. We particular because, you know, we've been enduring in this country, and it seems like our people are trying to have amnesia. They want to have Alzheimer's. They want to have anything that make them trying to forget about why we in the condition we in, and especially right now. And we see how this game of chess is being played. So what does the new year in reference to our history, what does that entail? And what has that been part of our history? So that was a thumbnail for those who like came over here and clicked on the video based on that thumbnail, right? Happy Heartbreak Day, right? You might be, hey, Mr. Blowman, what you talking about Happy Heartbreak Day? What is this Heartbreak Day stuff you talking about? What you talking about? Well, again, you as a black American now, again, we don't discriminate, right? We ain't about hating. We just about telling it like a TI is. We gonna tell it like it is because the fact that everybody don't want to recognize and act as if like what we see, and then let's say all the things that are happening that is befalling a people like ourselves, that this is something on our own. This is not something that was instituted to us. So I, as a reminder, as a whiteologist, I have to always kind of remind certain things. So again, we just had January 1st. A lot of people call that New Year's, right? And a lot of people celebrate it. A lot of people look back at 2020. Again, 2020, of all the deaths that we done heard about. I'm not saying that they're not real, but we heard a lot about the deaths, right? And we seem to have a culprit that, everybody's trying to fight, trying to prevent themselves from getting. But January 1st in itself, looking at from our history, when they call us the enslaved black laborers, right? We the enslaved black laborers, right? So when we look back at that particular time of our ancestors, those who are the bloodline cut from BADOS, Black American descendant of slaves. Yes, I say slaves. People say slavery. Now, slavery to me is the institution, right? Slavery is the institution, but slaves is the people. Let me say that again. Slavery is the institution. Slaves is the people. I, myself, am kin to the people. So I know a lot of people like to play with that. And again, it's always trying to not want to be recognized about something because you've been programmed to think that that is the worst thing that has ever happened. In actuality, it is, but that doesn't negate the fact that that's who your lineage and who we come from. And that don't make us lowly people because other people want to stigmatize us with that. So the thing is, they say we were farmers, going back before the Civil War. You gotta understand that people are going to write in a way to soften so they'll make them feel stigmatized in their head about what they, who act like nobody is really. Check this out. Isn't it funny that we are the descendants of that what happened back then, right? But it's like the people who were back then, none of them don't exist today. Like where they at? We here, but we're the ones who are the descendants of them. So nobody wants to actually acknowledge that. So they want to act like everybody just newly got here. Okay. But anyway, so they said they want to make us like we were farmers during this time on the plantations. And we know damn well you may call it farming, but that ain't what it was. In the way that you look at a farmer, you would think that on his own, let's say, his own cognizance that he wants to do what he wants to plant and what he wants to plant do. But that ain't what it was. This is something else. This is forced labor. This is slavery, right? And so during this particular time, when we go back in our history, we realize that New Year's, as they called it, this was not a good time for us. Let me say that again. During the New Year, coming into the new, matter of fact, why you see Santa Claus on there is because it's gone from December, what they call 25th, that they had us talking about Jesus being born on December 25th, and then riding all the way through to, 1st of January. When you think about it, there's the lunar calendar, and then there's the solar calendar, right? So there's the Western calendar, and then there's the one that they say that's in Ethiopia. So say in Ethiopia, I think they got 13 months in their calendar, but we got 12. But then when you look at the history of it, they done added 2 people in there that were supposed to be there. So is it 9 months or 10 months? And when you look at it from that standpoint, you got to ask yourself, well, damn, how old are you really? Because if you're really 9 months or 10 months, but they gave you 12 months, then that means you're a couple months older than what you really are. Then when you take the years and add them 2 months and then total up your age, you're a lot older than what you think you is. I ain't going to say it again, though. I ain't going to say it again. You better get it the first time. So anyway, they're saying that, during that time, our people were feeling anxiety. It was a waiting period, right? Because during this particular time, you could get hired out to what they say, new master. Right? You can get a new master at this time. Right? You can get a new master. Right? You already got this one. I don't know how comfortable we might have been with, but then to say to transfer you out, hire you out, right? to endure something new. You know, everything that was new ain't always good. You have to go through the process to find out what somebody is. And so, well, you could be just outright sold. Now, depending on how long you've been at this particular place, the people, your children, wife, if you want to call it that, you could be uprooted, taken somewhere else. And so during this time, our ancestors were depressed, whether it's man, woman, or child. It didn't matter, because this could be the last time that you seen the people who you called you loved, right? Now, they talk about how these abolitionists, they used to write about those particular times after all that done took place. They said, well, you know, the abolitionists, they wrote about it. And so they talked about this New Year's and how we were waiting and wondering if, you know, owners and were going to rent us out or, you know, splitting us up from our families, right? But they always talk about this common practice. They said, well, it was a common practice in the antebellum South. Practice, right? When I think about practice, you know what I'm saying? Think about that practice. Somebody talking about practice. Well, you know, the funniest thing I ever heard about somebody talking about practice was who? Y'all remember that? Let me go ahead, just in case you didn't remember. Remember this?
It's easy to sum it up when you just talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game. Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice. I know I'm supposed to be there. I know I'm supposed to lead by example. I know that. And I'm not shoving it aside, you know, like it don't mean anything. I know it's important. I do. I honestly do. But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man. When you come in the arena and you see me play, don't you?
Absolutely.
You see me give everything I got, right?
Absolutely.
But we talking about practice right now.
But it's an issue that your coach
We talking about practice. Man, I hear you. It's funny to me too. I mean, it's strange to me too. But we talking about practice, man. We're not even talking about the game, the actual game, when it matters. We're talking about practice.
Alan, is it possible, though, that from where he's coming from,
I cut myself short on that one. But anyway, just in case you might be new up in here. But the thing, you got to think about that too, man. Practice, man. They talking about the practice. Like Allen Iverson was talking the same thing, talking about practice. How can you be talking about practice when that practice is actually like the damn game? But in this case, Allen is saying, y'all tripping on me about practice, but we talking about the practice of what our ancestors was doing. They said that whole institution, and that was like practice. That was the practice of the time. There ain't no damn practice when we was in there. That was game time for us. Well, no damn practice. But see, that's how they always trying to find a way to soften about what had been done to us, right? And so they talk about the profitable practice, what they call for white owners who owned us. I don't understand what this practice business is. What do you mean by practice? You know, practice in there, man. So when they talk about, and you know, they were talking about these experts and stuff like that, they were talking about how in the history about hiring day, right? The hiring day. This is all associated with what you just celebrated as this new year. This is all hiring day. And this hiring day was part of a larger economic cycle where most of the debts were collected and settled on New Year's Day. Now, this was the system that they had. But remember, our people were the commodity, right? So if you was in debt, well, how about our go ahead and take them and give you in exchange for what I owe you, and that we can call that even. Regardless to how your ancestors and their life and what was being established and the relationships and families that you were tearing. And the thing is, they didn't discriminate. They take the baby if the person wanted it. Take the mama, the daughter, the son, the dad. It didn't matter, right? It did not matter. So they would put us on. It would be also this January 1st is auction day. Auction day. And so when they did these auctions on this particular day, what they did is they held these under contracts that started on this January 1st. Hired you out on January 1st. And these transactions took all year long to fulfill. And then there's times when it could have been, these contracts could have lasted, let's say it this way, unamounted of time. Means it could be 5, 10 years, or it could be just a regular sale. And so they would talk about how these would be privately among the family, friends, and business contracts between them. And then they would take us, when they would talk about them town square meetings. You ever heard about them town square meetings? But that's where they would take us. Take us to them town squares, and that's where this is coming from. That's where they would take us, right? Do I got an image? I might got an image up here. Let me see if I got an image up here to show y'all something. Just give you some mind's eye picture, other than the fact that you're still kind of sitting there just hearing me. Now, some people will have a problem. Say, wait a minute, he's in there talking. He ain't no receipts. Oh, there's receipts, because you go back and look at what I'm talking about. You'll see the receipts for yourself, right? I got this thing where people talk about everything got to be shown. Wait a minute, y'all, what you're doing by making everything that being said negates everything that our people told us. So it's like this one will tell you, well, you can't prove it. That means it don't exist. Well, that's why he get rid of shit, so that way your ass can't prove it because it don't exist, because he done got rid of it. So now because our people tell us stuff, and that you can't, let's say, produce and show it, but does that mean that it's not true? But see, we get into that mindset that everything has to be, but we're not looking at the person and how they maneuver and move. They don't always prove anything. Matter of fact, while we're talking about that, when you're looking at what's about to take place between now and January 6th, so isn't it all about proving? Now, those who can see don't need to prove. They know what it is, but they say, in order for you to prove it, you got to show it. So let's say in time go back, and people start talking about this time in them elections, and they're going to say, man, there was so many people, they were talking about this and doing this and that. And you can see it with the videos, you can hear the testimonies, but they said the court said there was no proof. See? So you can't always say that everything has to be a damn receipt, because sometimes you could tell some things that just damn true. You can't prove it. We've been saying it as black men, that we've been innocent for a long ass time. Right? We've been saying, oh, we innocent. And they even the lawyers will even tell you, everybody black think they innocent. Everybody in jail say they're innocent. Yeah, they be innocent, all right. Till taking 20, 30 years to find out that they're innocent. Sorry about that. It's about $100,000 for your inconvenience, right? That kind of thing, right? So they say that the effects of what was taking place is all the stuff I'm telling you. This New Year's Day, or this New Year's Day transfer, us particular black Americans, was so strongly felt during this time, they branded Hiring Day or Heartbreak Day. Heartbreak Day. Ain't that something? Heartbreak Day. So our ancestors dreaded during this period of time. Now, the way we see it today, being in 2021 now, again, we don't even know how we even got to 2021. Again, we've been, as I say, and we've been around so long that you can't put a date on it, but how did you get, somebody got a date of 2021. So what are we counting from starting at this point going to now? Some people say since the birth of Jesus Christ, right? Some people say that. So that means anything prior before then, don't nothing count. No, there was no counting, but yet mathematics, science, and all that is coming from the people who they can't count. They ain't got no records, but we ain't counting that. All that don't count. It's the only thing that we count going forward, right? Okay. So anyway, so here's our ancestors have to kind of equate that during this particular time when all this is said, they can see the season, like the season is changing. They say, man, you know what time it is. They're finna get the feast and finna do all that. So a lot of people is doing things like, man, is it gonna happen to me, right? And so there were some memoirs that I had read and I read about, and they was talking about how these accounts were talking about. They said there was an old saying. They said that what you were doing after New Year's Day, you'll be doing for the whole rest of the year. So I guess maybe that's where they're getting this New Year resolution from, right? But most people end up breaking. But you couldn't break that when we was on them plantations. It is what it is, right? There was no changing that. So you had to endure that whether you liked it or not. And so they always want to talk about, they always want to make the comparisons as to, it wasn't this bad. They say the slaves' New Year Day, right? And there was a book wrote by a woman, her name was Harriet Jacobs. And she was talking about how hiring day in the South took place on the 1st of January. Now she's going to validate what I'm saying here. And so on the 2nd, like today being the 2nd, slaves were expected to go to their new masters. Again, they're saying farming, rent out for human chattel, so they could get extra income during a period of time between the cotton and the corn harvest. Getting prepared for the next planting season. This will start between Christmas to New Year's Eve, while people will be anxiously awaiting to find out whether they would be rented out. So on New Year's Day, they appoint the hour, the grounds. They would pick out who they wanted. It's kind of like being in court, right? When you go to court, you got to go to traffic court. Hopefully it is with for traffic, right? But you're sitting in there and waiting for somebody to call your name so you can come up there and get your business and get up out of there. But in this case, you ain't get up out of there. They calling your name to pronounce you because somebody got some idea where they want to send you to. So they recall there was an ancestor of ours, was a woman. She had 7 children. They put her and her 7 children on the auction block. Now they was taking each one of them, separating each one of them out of 7. Just imagine that yourself. You got 7 children. You're on an auction block. Taking each one of your children, one person going one place to another. And the thing is, the slave traders who took the children, they ain't even telling where they taking them. They would take them and you had no idea where they were going. Whoever gave the highest price for them, that's where they were going. So they recollect and called in this thing I had read. It was talking about the fact that the mother cried out, "Gone, all gone. Why don't God kill me?" Let me say that again. One of our ancestors. Can you imagine all 7 of your children being snatched from you? Going 7 different ways. That she's grieving over the fact that she can't do nothing about it. Why don't God just kill me? So we sit here and we celebrate things like Stevie Wonder say, believing in things that you don't understand, superstition in a way. That's because people don't really want us to know what really took place. And then they get angry because you guys are always hanging on that. Really? You memorialize everything else in this country, but we're not supposed to memorialize none of those things, right? So, let me get this and then we right back. Let me, just for those who might be sitting up in here, because I'm not even looking in there. Might be somebody in there who might be saying something, but I just ain't seeing you right now. Where is that at? Okay, there we go. All right, so go ahead and put that in. Be right back. Check this out, y'all. Back, right? So now people who attempted during this time, now when this time was happening, around this time, this Christmas is New Year, what our people would do is attempt to resist going through to their new masters, right? So they knew that they were going to try to do that. Remember, those who are avid watchers over here, remember I used to talk about drapetomania. Drapetomania is you don't want to be still on there, you trying to get away. They diagnosed that as a disease, a mental disease. That you want to run away. That you was something wrong, that you didn't want to stay. Right? So to try to break some of that in them, they would whip them, throw them into jail until they relent and promise not to run away during the new arrangement. Anybody ever seen that movie? What's the name of that movie? Mandingo. Remember that scene with Cicero? The brother that played his name was Cicero. He had the brand on him. Say, "Oh, he's a runner," right? And that's exactly what he was doing, right? Remember they caught him in there. He was in there teaching them how to read, right? And they came in there, and Master came in there, seen him reading, and the elder one, they whipped him. And then he ran. He had all the shorties in there trying to teach them. And then they came with all on the horse and ran through there. And they had Ken Norton playing as Mandingo, chased him and called him. "What's wrong with you? You think you a hound dog or something? When they put that rope around my neck, it's like you putting that." You understand? You helping them out, right? But he was a runner. And so because he was running is because, if you remember in that movie, they were trying to sell him. So that's what they're talking about. So when this particular time between the December 25th to January 1st, when they knew that he probably done already told you because you was already a problem child, they're going to get rid of you and sell you, they was anticipating trying to get their escape. So to try to break some of that, that's when they start doing this. And so with that being said, when you look at the holiday became associated, they said, with freedom. He said, well, wait a minute, what the hell you mean they were talking about freedom? Hey, what do you mean by that? Well, let me tell you something. Now, again, for those who haven't watched this over here, remember I done did the video showing about the Freedmen Bank and how our ancestors, after being so-called emancipated and what took place. But this I did not tell you is the fact that in Abraham Lincoln, when he signed that Emancipation Proclamation, again, which is really nothing but an announcement, right? And so-called freeing slaves in the Confederate States, you know what that day that was when he wrote that in 1863? January 1st, 1863. Ironic, right? New Year's Day, 1863 is when they signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Because why? Based on the simple fact of the history. So many of us might remember and still might be still practicing this. You ever wonder why we was going to church like on December 31st and then for New Year's? Do you know where that come from? We went and prayed and sing, huh? That's because that becomes a tradition because it goes all the way back to those dreading because January 1st was coming because they knew we going to get broken up. Remember, 7 children split in 7 different ways. Others the same way. So a ritual was created in participating or in the anxiety or anxiousness of the day that comes on December 31st. We go to church. So we end up becoming what? A New Year Eve prayer service nationwide that we did. But you may not know where that head came from. That's because that's what was happening to us, right? So they always want to ask the question, well, what was it like? What was it like for black Americans, being in slavery and experiencing during Christmas, during the holiday? Well, what the hell are you asking for? You know what I'm saying? We don't need to make no speech. It is what it is, right? So the whole thing is the fact that they talk about how these white Southerners, and after the Civil War, and how they painted an ideal picture of owners' generosity. We're talking about this Christmas, right? Think about Christmas now. And so, when you associate these holidays, you associate them with, supposedly feasting, singing, dancing, right? They're a lot more complex than that, though. And when we look at in history, when we talk about in this country, when we talk about Christmas in particular, in 1830 it started, they say in Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas. That's what they say. It's starting in Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas in 1830, and then these became the first United States to declare Christmas as a state holiday. It was those 3. Now, if you're people from Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas, you were the first one to start this Christmas business, right? If your ancestors and your lineage and stuff coming from there. And so what ended up happening is that this tradition ended up start becoming, we could say, countrywide, nationwide. And this is during the antebellum period between 1812 and 1861. So the tradition of giving gifts, singing carols, decorating homes, took hold as an American culture. And so they want to equate the fact that, well, you were getting some days off, right? You think about that. Like some people that, let's say, people say, well, you woke. They woke. Well, sometimes woke people and conscious people, when they start knowing stuff and they don't want to participate, but it makes them aloof from their family members, but they have to kind of acquiesce because otherwise this is the only time when everybody can get off. But it's really, when you think about it, that's really going all the way back to those particular times. So sometimes you let your hair down, so to speak. I don't think we let our hair down, but that's the saying. And we try to participate. Because why? You get a longer break during this time. The only time where everybody don't have to worry about going to work, you can just enjoy the festivities. But celebrating the holiday in itself, when you know the history of it, wasn't good times for us. It really wasn't. And so we see that receiving gifts and enjoying the so-called these special foods, well, that's what they were doing, right? This is the time the master want to give you certain things. He want to give you gifts. He want to let you have, some food. It's kind of like this $600. Take it or leave it. Oh, you should get $2,000. Take this $600. That's half a lifetime. Well, he did tell you. He said, I am descendant of slave owners as well as Barack Obama. Remember he said that, right? He threw Barack on the bus, and Barack never came out and said nothing that he denied that. He didn't deny it. So, from the so-called, let's say, from the slave owner's position, he thought that Christmas time could be treacherous, right? He's very aware of the time off and thinking that you sitting around plotting how to get them, right? So he would do preemptive shows of harsh discipline. That's what he do, man. They were always in fear that somehow you would try to do something. Now, there's some things that happen also in history too that are also equated when you talk about history, like say Harriet Tubman. You know that when did you ever ask yourself, if you didn't know, did you ever ask yourself, say, wait a minute, how they sneaking away and Master didn't know like the next day? How he didn't know the next day? You know why? Because it was during this time. You know what I'm saying? He planned it in a way so they knew that there would be 2-3 days. They fested with drunk as hell. You ain't got like, you can get on the phone and say, 911, my slave ran away. You know what I'm saying? You can try to get away. And that's why they was able to get away, because it was during the festivities of this so-called holidays was the time for them to break. Now, they may not put that, I don't know, because many of us didn't even go watch that Harriet, because a lot of people feel some kind of way about that. But point is, that was a perfect time. So kind of see how that been going over history. So it just seems like now, like when they want to come out with the damn stimulus, came right out right before, right? Think about it. Look how they did it. They did. It's the same thing, man. Don't get twisted. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. It's the same ritual all the time. The only thing is we not conscious of how they playing the game. See, we get tied up into a lot of other stuff, which is good. But the one thing that we supposed to never forget, because some people got a mantra say never forget, but when it comes to us, it's like we try to do everything we can to forget. Don't recall. Don't recollect on it. Don't mention it. Something wrong with you if you're talking about it. You get what I'm saying? Like, man, I know, man, you don't want to be a victim. I ain't no victim. No, you ain't a victim. No, you ain't a victim. You just encased like that Christmas thing what they used to shake up and the snow was in there. You just encapsulated in that. You just think that when you're looking at it, look nice, the snow, a nice little town in there. You just someone, I would like to live in there. But you encapsulate in there. You can't get out of there. But you tell yourself you ain't no victim. Well, that's teach his own. And so the annual window for opportunity to challenge the subjugation. And this was the thing that they saying it was going to shape their lives. The resistance came in many ways, assertions of power. So what they want to do during this time is they want to give you gifts. Oh, how many people are so happy to get that gift of $600? Huh? Economy probably went up a little bit because of that, huh? And especially when you give them to people who ain't got nothing. If you ain't paying rent, what else you gonna do with it? Right? So anyway, do I got some? You got some over there to play? No, don't play that yet. Don't play that yet. So anyway, we're gonna go on a little bit more here. So, I'm gonna put that thumbnail back up there. Yeah, put the thumbnail back up there. Yeah, you got it. Because we ain't got too much video today. Because I wasn't sure. You see how it came on originally, and then I had to cut it off to come back in there because I'm always doing something over here. Anyway, so going back on to this, because I'm going to tie this into something else. But I'm showing you this Christmas and how this going through. I'm going to show you something else why I'm talking about this heartbreak day, right? So you see that those who had us, again, the gift giving is connotated with power. So what it did is it gave the opportunity for what they call Zaddy to express his paternalism, his fatherliness, his dominance over the people he owned. See? The psychology they've been doing on us is so deep that a lot of people to this day try to question about people they see today, not understanding that this stuff goes deep in the fabric of we as Black Americans. Right? That stuff go deep in us, right? And so when they had this Christmas and the gift giving and stuff like that, it was setting the tone in you. And basically all he was doing, check this out, it's kind of like the $600. The thing that they was doing, what the owner was giving you, it was things that he just withheld from you throughout the year, and he damn well, let me say that again. The owner, when he did get these gifts, what he was doing is just the things he was withholding from you that he didn't want to give you through the year, he used it now to play it as a damn gift. Kind of like the $600, right? They say, damn, with all the tax money you put into this and all this, and if I can get a $600 when I'm in need. Kind of like some people with the church business, right? You done go in there, ties up, and then when it's time for you, when you in need, Pastor, I pay my rent, my car note due, my mortgage due. Well, let's pray for it. What you mean pray? Nigga, yeah, where's their money at? Anyway, so it give you shoes, clothing, give you some money, right? Get the kids a sack of candy, some pennies, And they could see how all that skinning and grinning and bowing. Thank you, master. Thank you. Tickle them pink inside. Let me say that again. Want to give you stuff that he was withholding anyway. Shoes, clothing, money, right? Get the kids sacks of candy, pennies. Give the servants, right? They skinning and grinning. Low bow. Yes, master. Yes, master. Now, I know we don't talk like that, but you know that's the way they depict it. So, you know. And so they believed that the ritual, because they would, he was saying that he would do all this killing of his, let's say he killed like 28 cows and cut them up and served this big old feast, because he understood the psychology of the fact that he could do more killing them 28 cows and serving them and making them feel good, right? And then when he asks you to do something, you won't have no problem. You won't resist. Then if he try to beat you and make you do it, you'll be resistant. See the psychology in that? See the psychology in that? And so here it is that he set the tone, talking about gift giving and how you exchanging gift. I give you, you give me. But if you put me in a position that I can't do nothing to give you, so when you giving me, it's like I'm always taking. So then you be hearing this term talking about you useless eaters. People want to deem us useless eaters, but you done already got the goods. You got the goods. That's how you proclaim to be the greatest, the most richest, and all this. But where did it come from? But we useless eaters. See, you mean now that because of the conditions and the stigmatization and the designs that keep us underwater, now you say, I ain't got no use for you. Ain't got no use for you. And so this here made them feel that why they never want to make you have economic equality with them, right? Listen to this. The reason why I don't want you to be equal in economics with them, because then it takes away that feeling that he make us this childlike dependency, always in need to Zaddy, because he kept you where you can't. So that's why you be hearing people talking about, oh, y'all, they're always on welfare, you always getting everything free. But you don't come from the same history I come from. You don't come from the same history I come from. You don't. So Christmas time and this whole time represented a break, the end of the harvest season. And again, I said it's starting the preparation for next year. And so they even talk about with Frederick Douglass. Now, you know, Frederick Douglass talking about he escaped from slavery too at the age of 20, right? But he was quoted saying something. He was saying the fact that those of us who had families at distance were generally allowed to spend the whole 6 days between Christmas and New Year's in their society. So between Christmas and New Year's, this is where everybody doing their escaping, because it was 6 days of a lapse that you could go, and they would let some of them go to see family members. But I can't believe it was the field Negroes. Probably was the house Negroes, right? You probably was able to do that, but you don't let the field Negro, because they know he get away, he gone, right? So anyway, the lapse of time. And so, let me show you. I'm going to get into some other stuff here. I'm going to tie it all up. Right? Because you got to remember that. See, you got Candyland, right? You got those Samuel Jackson sitting there, right? Right? He was on people. Hey, he waiting for that girl, right? See, and Master Ed telling them everything. See, the children sitting in front of that plantation out there. Santa Claus like, shh, silence. Don't talk about this, right? See, but the problem is all this stuff is becoming unraveled. Right? Everything being unraveled in. And so people don't like the fact that y'all unraveling. So we got to trying to put this genie back in the damn bottle. Niggas are getting too uppity. All this suppressing, can't talk about certain things. All this stuff coming like that, right? And let's see. I'll go there. Go back over there. Go back over there. Thank you, sir. There was something else I want to talk about too in this, to tie this in before I get into the next part here. You ever heard of caroling? Now, the new ones probably don't know. You brand new, got the brand new smell on you. You may not know. You might have heard, seen the movies. A lot of those during that Christmas time, they be showing all that, them Christmas white movies and all that. Okay, caroling is people going out front and singing in front of the house, right, during the Merry Christmas time and singing, right? You know where that came from? See, they don't never want to tell you everything, right? But according to what I had read, it said that that there used to be a term called coloring, right? K-U-N-E-R-I-N-G, coloring, right? And they say this came from our African roots. This is where we would dance, sing, and relating to our ancestral spirits and to the Creator. And so what we did, this coloring, during this particular time, it would be our people who would go out in front of the house because of the time, singing, dancing, which became their Christmas caroling. They didn't even create that. That came from us. We the ones did that. We the ones that was singing the carol. That was our people doing that. And again, same thing like Memorial Day. You think Memorial Day came from them. Now, that was our people going to get our people after they had slaughtered them and brought them back and had the procession, and that's where they came. And then they stole that, and now they want to say Memorial Day is about, you see what I'm saying? Because they don't want us to be knowing all that, right? Yeah, that's kind of funny how people do it. They quick to try to take something away from you and always want to tell you you didn't contribute anything. This is not great because we did everything. No, you never want to get that, right? You never want to say that, no, it wasn't you. Somebody else. All right. So let me get to this other part here, right? Let me show you this here. Let me tie this in. So I just want to tell you a little bit about, again, for those who celebrate that New Year. But I'm going to tie in about, again, we're talking about from, at that time, antebellum, in the South, plantation, the whole nine, right? So I seen this here. Let me go ahead and show you this. Can we show that up there? Want to show? All right. Let's see if they're going to show. All right. I seen this, right? See, this here was an article I seen. Visualizing America's population by race. Yeah, visualizing America's population by race. Okay. And so what it talked about in here, right? It was talking about how they call it a mosaic of culture. They got a unique mosaic of culture. Almost 40% of the people identify as a racial or ethnic minority today, right? Now remember, we started about that New Year's Day, and we're going to bring it all the way today. So there's a Kaiser Family Foundation who came up with this tree map. Used the data from 2019. And it's basing this analyst by what they said was an American Community Survey, I think ACS, I think it's called American Community Survey. And they took some data from the United States Census Bureau. And so, according to them, in 2019, they said that the white population is 60.1% non-Hispanic. Hispanic is 18.5%. Black population is 12.2%. Asians is 5.6%. And American Indians and Alaska Natives 0.7%. Native Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders are 0.2%, right? So that was some of the numbers they were breaking down there, right? And so in this article was also talking about how the fact that they doing a projection. Now here we are, we just left 2020, and it says according to 2020, as I just said, now whites about 59.7%, 12.5% black, Hispanic 18.7%, 5.8%, and multiple races. I don't know what group that is, but multiple races is 2.3%. Now they're projecting a 40-year period. So they say in the year 2060 that white folks will be 44.3%, blacks will be 13.6%, and Hispanics will be 27.5%, Asian 8.9%, and multiple races 4.9%. Okay? Now wait a minute. You mean in a 40-year period, black folks ain't gonna be no more than a 1.1% in 40 years? But you telling me the Hispanics will be at 18.7%, will grow almost 9%, and white folks will decline about 15%, right? Okay? So maybe is that when you heard Joe Biden sitting there talking to those in that room that this so-called secret recording came out? We're talking about you guys got to get ready to prepare to talk to the Hispanics. Is that what he was talking about? Maybe that's what he was talking about, right? I'll go on and show you some more. Now, this multiple racial ethnic background is going to double from 2.3% to 4.9%, right? And then they said there's a rising pattern of interracial marriages. So the U.S. Census has been vastly expanded to reflect the true diversity. They say from 1960 onward that people could select their own race. Only from 2020 can those who choose white or black provide further information on their roots. Okay? And so they go into the states and they break it down for each state and how that works. And I would show you all that, but it would be too much. So I'm just going to say, but I'll just tell you, if you see that article, you can go in there and find it, and you can see that how they got it broken down by white, black, Hispanic, Asian, multiple races, and so forth. But everybody keeps saying that race is not a real game. That race is just a figment of your imagination, is a construct, but everything that they do has the category for where you fit in. You get in. Okay? You get in where you fit in at. And so they even say something to the fact that they say 98% of Puerto Ricans are of Hispanic origins. Let me say that again. That's what they said. 98% of Puerto Ricans are of Hispanic origins. And they all considered United States citizens. Ain't that something? So now I've been heard when people say Puerto Ricans were Africans. No. Puerto Ricans are Hispanics. Like, oh shit, what? Alright, so where you going with this, Mr. Billiard? Well, I got to show you this because, again, we started off on the plantation with that January 1st to the 20th. Well, how does time in? Well, everything going on, everybody, can't say the V word? Everybody taking the inoculation, right? Okay, what about the inoculation, right? I want you to be the poster child. I want you to be the catalyst and everything. It's like you ain't worried about everybody else. If you're talking about herding, Well, shit, if everybody else is so willing and, if everybody else is so willing and so trustworthy, all right, let's see you do it. It's more you, right? Based on the numbers, why would you go with the smaller group, the 12.5 group? Why would you let them when you got the 18.5 and you got the other one that, you know what I'm saying? What was the number? Go back to that. The other one is at 59. Wait a minute. So you don't get a 12.5 at first. Get him all up in it. But these other groups much bigger. So I think the casualties of wars will be better on your side than on our side. What you think? Don't you agree with me? I think if you 59.7% of the country, I think shit. Why not you take it first? Why would you get it first? And then secondly, go on them. Then we come, okay, when we sit back and, okay, we ready, we third in line. We be third in line. No, they say, you take it first. Nah. All right, you want us to take it first. Okay. So, what I want to show you is what we are going up against here, right? 2021 is going to be this particular year. A lot of people you're hearing, they're talking and saying about being attacked and people, all kind of stuff. Then you know where we come from, right? You know where we come from. You're not sure where we come from, so let me show you something here. Is that on there yet? Go up there. Put that up there. Yeah, put that up there. Okay, what you see on your screen there is some statistics, right? And in them statistics, what you see is, take a break and come right back, just in case somebody here knew. You gotta go and do the business. Do the business and be right back. Right? So you see in your screen, you see some stats there. See on the top it says United States, race and Hispanic origin, 1790 to 1990. It's a 200-year period. Okay? That's what they count for the Hispanic origin, right? But I want you to look way at the bottom there, right? See down at that bottom, it says 1790. 1790, if you look in the black section, says 757,208 was black people in 1790. Let me say that again. In 1790, according to what you see on your screen there, it was 757,208 black folks in the United States. Now, if you look over to the further right there, you see another box there says black. Right? It says total blacks, 757,208, and it says free blacks, 59,527, and slaves, 697,981, I think, or 581. Is that 9 or 5? No, 881. Okay. Right? That's 1790. 1790, the country became the United States in 1787, right? Okay. We had over almost 60,000 free black people at that particular time. Versus those who were slaves. Now, the question I'm going to pose to you is, does everybody in that group, of that 59,527, were any of them free from field Negroes who became free, or is this all house who were free? That's what you got to ask yourself, right? Because those two numbers are going to represent something that is the problem that we've been having this whole damn time, right? Now, we talked about what was going on the plantation, who was getting sold, but that primarily, we could bet our last dollar that had nothing to do with the ones in the house. This probably was all field, right? Who family sold all that, right? So in 1790, they say that was, these are the numbers, right? So from 1790, if you go up to 1820, you see that we 1,771,000, looks like 656, right? All right, so we grew about almost, what's that, about a little less, almost like 900,000, right? About 900,000 in, let's see, what's that, 30-year period, okay? In 1860, by the time we get to 1860, but wait, let me go before that. Now look in the white category. Let's go back down to 1790. You see there's 3,172,506 white folks versus 757,208 blacks, right? So, okay. And then in 1800, there was 4,000,003. Then we has 1,000,000. And then, okay, right? And then by the time we get to 1830, they got 10 million to our 2 million. Now, you got to remember, the black section at this particular time, because as you see over to the right of those of the Asians and Asian Indians and Asian Pacific, they don't got no numbers because they weren't part of the game yet. Ain't that something? They weren't part of the game yet. So it's just us and them, right? It's just them and us, right? And you start seeing the numbers of the whites is really just exploding, right? They're going from 3 million from 1790 till we get to 1860, they're at 26 million, right? But look at us on the side of there at 4,441,830. Now, those are the 4 million. This is us doing our natural process of, again, us being a commodity in their business and having children, and that was kind of part of the commodity. But this is the natural process of us doing what we're doing. The other side is bringing people in. You're bringing people in on us, right? You're piling them up against us, right? Think about this. 26 million to 4 million, right? Whole country is about 31,443,321, right? So at the time of 1860, when they say around the time we were talking about emancipation, so there's 4,441,830 total, but there was 488,070 free at that time. Is that what we've been fighting this whole time? I ain't gonna say all of them, but that number got to mean something, because, you know, certain people today, they're talking about certain organizations and peoples and stuff, and they say these people have been a barrier to keep us from doing what we've been doing. The question you got to ask yourself is, in that number, and the people who come from that and the family that is, were these the people who the buffers use against those who in the other category of the 3,953,760? Now, when you go from 1860 to 1960, in 100 years, we grew 14 million people. We grew 14 million people in 100 years, right? 100 years we grew 100, right? So in the 1970s, now, but wait a minute, but you look at the white section, there's 158 million. Now you got 551,000 so-called American Indian Eskimos. You got 80, I don't know, this other race might be. 980,000 Asian Pacific Islanders, right? And then 87,000 of others. This is 1960. So we are 18 million, right? 1970, we jumped from 18 to 22 million. We grew 4 million. Then we go in 1980s, we grew, matter of fact, they say, according to this, they got 4 million. But let me show you something. Let me show you something, y'all. Article had came out, right? 1980 census shows 17% growth of blacks surpassed rise for U.S. Let me say that again. 1980 census shows 17% growth of blacks surpassed rise for United States. It was such an alarm that they wrote an article on it. February 24th, 1981. 17%. That's a lot. That is a lot. Huh? Is that not a lot? That is a lot. And so, check this out, what that article talked about. It said that the nation's black population grew 17% in the last decade, faster than 11% overall increase in the American population. Let me say that again. The nation's black population grew by 17% in the last decade, faster than the 11% overall increase in the American population. So we outnumber the entire nation in population growth in a 10-year period at 17%. Did you know that? Did you know that? Blacks expanded from 22.6 million to 26.5 million between 1970 and 1980. But that's not true. Well, that is true, because I showed you the stat before that, right? I showed you that, but that didn't come from them. This came from somewhere else, right? That came from somewhere else. Just to make a correlation to that, right? So go back to that one. Yeah, go back to see that one there. Okay. Okay. And so American population grew 11%, 11.1% to 11.7%. And the total population in the 1980 census was about 226 million, 5 million, up from 203.2 million in 1970. Okay? So we were having a lot of children in that 1980, from 70 to 80. Okay? We're having a lot of children. That it became alarming to notice to other people, like, hey, there goes 17%. Now, according to the census officials, they said the figures were the results of both an actual increase among blacks. So where else would they come from? Where else would the black Americans get this increase from if they were not the true figures or the results of both an actual increase? So the birth rate had consistently exceeded that of whites. Let me say that again. Birth rates have consistently exceeded that of whites. Improved counting procedures in black neighborhoods. So they said the rise in the numbers because we started getting a little bit more accurate in the count in black communities. You know, in 2020 there was a census. There was a census here, right? But because of COVID and all that other stuff, right? Is it going to be accurate? Probably not, right? Probably not. So you gotta understand how all this game is being played, y'all. That's all I'm trying to tell you here. Okay? And so they said that the figures for blacks, as you see, they talked about, part of a provisional racial and the Spanish origin population count from the 1980 census, except for blacks. So the differential, they said that the reason probably why the white count was probably didn't grow is because there was a question put on the test started in the 1980s about the Spanish origin, right? So what they're doing is they're reconfiguring it so that they can take these people over here and put them in their group over here, right? We find the stuff to put in our category. But see, when us, there ain't no category. You either just us, and that's what I'm saying. When I showed you the numbers, we was only according to them, 757,000 Blase Skippy, and then 1860 we 4 million, and then by the time we get 1960 you get what I'm saying? 18. You get what I'm saying? This is natural. These are natural, you know what I'm saying? It's just the natural copulation relationships that are breeding our peoples. And so they want to say it was the changes in the census question that made the little dip in the white numbers. So they say the white population was listed at 188.3 million in 1980. Was only up 6% from the 177.7 million in 1970. The white portion of the population dropped to 83.2% from 87.5%. It had dropped because of the Spanish question. Now, wait a minute. How'd you go from 177.7 million and drop to 83%? Who you counting? Then that means all the numbers that you count ain't you. It's somebody else you counting. Right? Okay. And they said it was mostly an artificial decline. Yeah, of course it's artificial because you count somebody else. And it's because they say millions of whites, mainly of Hispanic background. Now, wait a minute. See? You're counting of your lineage, of your background. And so they're saying that those of the Hispanics of that time in the 1980s, they were misunderstanding the census question because they were describing themselves as others under race. See? They weren't even identifying themselves as white. See? They weren't identifying themselves as white. Now, all of a sudden, now, they white now, right? They're white now. And so as a result of that other population, the United States grew 13-fold. They say about 1 million to 6.8 million in just one decade. No indication of huge immigration of other races in the 1970s. So there was no other reason other than the fact that those who were normally putting themselves as white changed to other. Right? Now, I did a video back in April 1st of 2014 called The Extinction of the White Race. Now, in that, you would think that I'd be sitting there talking about, we got to go out and kill. No. I wasn't doing none of that. I was doing the same thing I'm doing right now. I'm talking about this statistics and data and what it was saying and what it was projecting. Now, according to them, they were talking about 2040, right, that they were going to fall to, let's say, a minority majority, right? Meaning they're going to be a minority, but they got majority of the damn power because they got all the, they in all the institutions and places, right? But then I just showed you what they said in that article. They were talking about in 2060, they were still talking about they were going to be 50-some%. So again, somebody is fabricating. Somebody is saying things they ain't really connected, right? Well, where you going with this, Mr. Blowman? I'm just trying to tell you there's a reason for all this. They want you first take something. You get what I'm saying? They want you taking something because in that is the key. And just like they're talking about, well, let's say Planned Parenthood and all that stuff, because see, there's never been really an accurate count. And even with the census that just had, is it going to be an accurate count, or we're going to be able to say because of what done took place, the numbers won't reflect it because we're going to say these many people died. That's all I'm saying, y'all. Because see, I did a video where a dude talked about, he said, you know what, when you start seeing municipalities doing the things that we've been seeing and kept reading about, especially when you're talking about back in our history, it was because of the numbers of us versus the other one. And so that was their way of calling, you understand, the numbers. Anyway. So goes on to talk a little bit more that now what they said is they tried to accommodate. They said just one product of the Census Bureau attempted to accommodate intense political pressure from Hispanics, Asians, and Pacific Islands, and Native Americans and other minority groups. These groups had asserted that the census was not getting full count of their members. Okay, so here they is saying back in the 80s that the Hispanics, the Asian, and the Pacific, they say, well, you're not counting us. It should be more than that. Oh, maybe they was counting you, but maybe you was put in another group and you didn't know that, right? Because you would think that You know, some people understand and say, well, white people just white folks, right? But let me show you something here. Let me go there. Should we go there? It should go there, right? Let me go ahead and go over there. Check this out. Okay, let's go back over here. Let me show you this. Because everybody just say, you know, it's all the same. No. Let me show y'all something right quick. Go break and come right back. Hey, break, come right back. Back. Okay, you didn't put that in there, huh? So I had to put that in there just because I got to show you something as to what I'm talking about here, right? Because see, we can't get that mixed up and realize and think that, you know, that how they talking about that they getting other people and putting them in their group. That ain't nothing new. They've been doing that globally. They've been putting people in their group. You just didn't know they was doing it. I think I might have been one of the people who was talking about honorary whites. Right, I was talking about that at one particular time. And getting that together. And you know, so, well, Mr. Blowman, it's about race. No, it's not it's not sitting here just saying about race. It's just the game. This is the game we live in, man. We didn't create it. It's just the game we live in. So we can't act like this, again, wishing something to go away just because you want. But you got to look at how this being played. And hopefully you can see where this might be going. Hopefully you can see that. I mean, you know, Morgan's doing, you know, global. This is basically going around the whole bubble. Put that one up there, then I can move on from there. 1 second, y'all. Because I need you to see this while I'm telling you about it. Okay, there we go. Put that in there. Because you won't believe if I tell you it. If I tell you, you ain't gonna believe it. Right? So let me tell you this first. All right, so have you ever heard of the term called honorary Aryan? Honorary Aryan. Now, accordingly, this was an expression used in Nazi Germany to describe the unofficial status of persons, including, they said, the misclean, who are not recognized as belonging to the Aryan race, according to the Nazi standards, but informally considered to be part of it. Okay? The prevalent explanations as to why the status, right, as honorary Aryans was bestowed by the Nazis upon the non-Nordic or even less exclusive non-Indo-Iranian European peoples, is that the services of those people were deemed valuable to the German economy or war efforts simply for other purely political or propaganda reasons. Now, in this, they said the independent states, Nazi country, the term used by, and they talk about how some Jews were considered that, right? They had declared that the Japanese were honorary Aryans, the Finns, the Hungarians, the Turks were Aryans. The people who they would not put in there is Arabs. Anybody who was half Arab, you cannot be an Aryan, right? So let me show you something. Let me show a picture they had of this, just in case you didn't see. You see that there? You see what you see on your screen there? Look good. See that? See that right there? Yeah. Right? So So people here in this country are, most of them are Germans, right? So this is a derivative of those from Germany, by England, by way of, and with Anglo-Saxon and stuff, right? But they still the same peoples, right? So in the game they playing, they incorporating all kind of other people. They bring everybody here. So that means people see Asians, so they make a category to about Asians, but the Asians is he honorary white too. He got his honorary status white back in the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because that was in South Africa where the Japanese had got it, and they were crying, hey, how come he can get it, but we can't get it? But they got it too, right? So they honorary whites too. The honorary Aryans too. So now he's saying the Hispanics is too, right? And then now he said the Puerto Rican ain't black. You understand what I'm saying here, y'all? You surrounded. Everybody but you. And wonder why the game is the way it played against us. Everyone around you is white, except you. And then you got people in your own group. Remember that group when I was showing you about free? I ain't gonna say all the free blacks, but then even those ain't even trying to be you. So wonder why everybody trying to make you want to advocate for you to go out there and get that. Want you to take it first. Want to see you. Matter of fact, I know if I show this, it's probably gonna knock the channel out. So I don't even really want to show it. But y'all seen that sister that got that Bell palsy? Y'all seen that? The sister got that Bell palsy in her face. Seen the sister that was the nurse or the doctor, right? And she talking about how the treatment and stuff that she was getting. So you wonder why everybody just, trying to have you advocate for you, and yet they bigger than you, but they don't want to be the first one. They want you to go first, right? It's because when we go back and think about that 1980s business, right? And as it was showing you, saying that 17% growth, now you understand why, right? When they were talking about that 17% growth, you understand why they came with that crime bill. Well, even before you get to the crime bill, what did you have before the crime bill? What was before the crime bill? What was before the crime bill? I'm going to have to remind you. First, I'm going to give you a picture of it. Remember this, y'all? You remember that? Y'all remember that? You remember that, right? You don't think all that stuff is designed? You don't think none of that stuff designed? Remember what that is? Everybody know what that is, right? Then, a couple days ago, I seen this. Talking about the crack epidemic, right? Talking about that crack epidemic. Okay? It's talking about the significant increase in the use of crack cocaine or crack in the United States during the 1980s. Do it make sense to you now? Why in the 80s that crack came? Why did the crack come? What was significant about that era, What was it? Was that? They had anything to do with that? Did the crack have anything to do with that? Did crack have anything to do with that? And everything that followed behind that? Well, this is what I was saying. This came here out of Britannica, right? Now, Britannica, that's what they do. They buy information and knowledge, right? So anyway, it was talking about how they were giving the history of the crack cocaine, how it became popularized because of its affordability. That's it. It got popular because it was a cheap high. That could be true too, right? Now again, some of us, we come from family members, if not personally, if it's not, socially or friend. Most of us, we kind of know, but because again, they will tell you what they say they didn't know then, but they tell now, right? So it say, according to how this became popularized and it was affordable, right? And because it was a euphoric effect, euphoric. So in that euphoric effect makes it high demand, means what? High probability. And so we see that this crack epidemic should have been a pandemic, right? Should have been a crack pandemic. But the devastation effects within the Black American communities, especially of the inner cities, caused an increase, what they said, addictions and death and drug-related crimes, right? Okay. And because of the highly addictiveness of crack cocaine, it was produced by the conversion, they say, of cocaine, fine white crystallized powdered substance into a smokable form, sold in smaller portions, distributed to more people. Crack is attributed to the name because it was the crackling noise that it made when the substance is smoked. Crack began to be produced in the early 1980s. Again, why did they come with the crack? Crack just suddenly fell out of the sky out of nowhere because of what? We don't know why. We never knew why. We didn't know why. Just it did. Right? So the method, again, for those who are not chemists that knew about how they do that, right? You dissolve this cocaine into some hydrochloride, into water, and some sodium bicarbonate, what you know is another name for baking soda, right? And this precipitates solid masses of cocaine crystals, right? And then you package it up in there, you know, they out there and they selling it, right? Now the thing about it is, it got cocaine in it, right? But it's unlike the powder cocaine because they say it was easier to develop. Now you're developing it, but you got to use cocaine to make it, right? But what about this cocaine? Where is this coming from, and who producing it? Who manufacturing? What about that part? Oh no, but it was easier to develop. But you ain't got to develop crack. The cocaine is natural, right? Is there a process to make cocaine, or is it natural? So it's easier to develop, they were saying. Well, anyway, it was cost efficient to produce. They say cheaper to buy. Buy what? What was cheaper to buy? Is it, the price of cocaine is cocaine, right? Right? In order for you, if supposedly if you're making crack, then you need cocaine as the substance in it to make crack. Then how is it cheaper? Because is cocaine cheap too? Okay, of course you had to ask yourself, right? And so because of that, they made it more economically accessible, and crack sold anywhere between $5 and $20 a vial, right? And so a lot of people say, well, crack was known for its instantaneous and intense high. For those who ever tried it, right? I don't know what that is, right? Maybe you yourself, maybe, but users craving more, causing a usurp in crack cocaine addictions between 1982 and 1985. Cocaine users increased by 1.6 million people. Well, they had it down to the number. They knew how many people was using it, huh? So some of the things that was attributed to crack cocaine was weight loss, high blood pressure, hallucinations, seizures, and paranoia, right? A lot of times we were seeing people who were overdosing, get unexpected reactions, suicide attempts, chronic effects, detoxification increased fourfold between 1984 and 1987. So the 80s coming with the crack, census told you there was something that was unique about what was happening to us. This crack cocaine came into our communities. People start getting it, right? Dealing with it. It's causing effects that's happening. Ravaging, doing what it's doing to us, right? So they even talked about the history about this and how it arrived. They talk about how the cocaine, hydrochloride, powder cocaine. Now, is that natural cocaine or this cocaine that's specially made? Cocaine, hydrochloride, powder cocaine. Was that something specially made? Because all this shit seemed to be coming out of the laboratory anyway, right? Like same thing talking about some concoction somebody might inoculate with, right? So it became a cash crop, where they said for South American countries. So they said the South American was introducing this into us, right? We know Colombia, right? We all heard the stories, right? So until the 1960s, they said few people knew about cocaine. Demands was limited. Desire for the drug increased, but Colombian trafficking organizations, they're talking about the Medellin cartel, instituted a distribution system. Imported the cocaine from South America into the United States market, sea, air, routes. Wait a minute. Sea and air? How they getting that through? How they getting through that without being found? The greatest, most defense. How is that getting through to get into, just like when we talk about the virus that came from somewhere way out somewhere else, seem to find itself right up on us. How did it find us like that? How did it find us from Wuhan all the way up on us? Like, damn, is it that many of us up on other people who might have been over in Wuhan? How's it all up on us? Oh, maybe because all they stores and stuff where we be going shopping. Maybe that's how we were getting in. I don't know. There's essential workers and they be around them people too. All right, whatever. But anyway, same thing here when they talk about this crack cocaine, right? It was coming through the sea and air. Coming from the Caribbean and then from South Florida coast, they say. And they said the trafficking organizations oversaw all operations. I remember reading a book. It was talking about somebody being the governor of Arkansas, and they were talking about how planes was coming in, and, and that person ended up becoming president too. So they went on and talked a little bit more on this thing, that they said the crack cocaine first came and appeared in Miami. Some people may know if that's true or not, but that's what they had said. And they are now going to blame it and say that, you know what? Caribbean immigrants taught the adolescents the technique of converting the powder cocaine into crack. Let me say that again. They said that it was the Caribbean immigrants who taught the adolescents the technique of converting powder crack cocaine. Taught them it. What they taught the teenagers. And then they would introduce this business, producing and distributing crack into the major cities in the United States. They putting it on immigrants. They did it to you. That's what they saying, right? So we see that by the time President Ronald Reagan, his administration gets in, then remember that slogan, they're talking about the war on drugs. Right? The war on drugs. We're going to combat drug trafficking, aimed to end the crack cocaine epidemic, destroying many lives. Now, wait a minute. How again, if you got a war on drugs, why the first place they going is down in the damn hood? When it said it came from the sea and the air, and it came from somewhere else, why is everybody attacking there? Why there? Why were they going there? What was they going there for? What were they going there for? Anybody know why? I don't know why, but it just seemed ironic that every time something got down there. What's down there? What's down there? They need. What's down there? What's down there? So now here it is. They say they're going to put these efforts in passing federal anti-drug laws. Uh-oh. And with the efforts now that they want to try to pass federal anti-drug laws, they want to increase federal anti-drug funding, do the initiation, expansion of prisons and police programs. Uh-oh. Huh? Wow. Uh-oh. And so this became the establishments of private organizations, partnerships for a drug-free America. So everybody getting in on the game. Everybody getting in. We're finna make some money, y'all. We're about to make some money. Everybody, get in this. We're going to make some money. We know what the target is. We're going to make this money. You in? So So the whole ideal of the war on drugs is grounded, as they say, in what? Deterrence. So there was the implementation of legislation for harsher penalties. Now they say the reason why they did these harsher penalties was to deter and discourage the use of drugs. Let me say that again. The implementation of legislation and harsher penalties was to deter us from using, selling, really? But boy, when that Oxycontin and that damn, what was that shit that was killing it? They didn't do none of that. They gave facilities, they gave them utensils, they gave them funding, but not legislation to lock them up. You know, there was 100-to-1 ratio between powder cocaine and crack cocaine. And they used this as a guidelines and had this minimum mandatory punishment. Minimum penalty of 5 years was administered for 5 grams of cocaine. But you had to have 500 grams of powder cocaine to be in that category. Let me say that again. Had a 100-to-1 ratio between powder cocaine, crack cocaine. They use that as the guidelines, and then they would put a minimum mandatory punishment, give a minimum penalty of 5 years administered for 5 grams of cocaine and 500 grams of powder cocaine. So you had to have 500 grams of cocaine to be equivalent to the 5 grams of crack. So that's why when they were saying white boys was going to jail and getting a slap on the wrist and coming up out of there and catch you with a rock, you was, So, this war on drugs created, as I said, everybody was going to get paid. Everybody was greasing the system. Immense growth in the court caseloads. Prison population was overflooded. And the whole war on drugs again was focused on the small-time drug dealer. Ain't that something? You got a war on drugs, but you're going after the peon in the game. Poor young black males from the inner city. Why was that? What did that have to do? Why was it targeting that? What was it about it, y'all? What was it? What was it? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. Maybe you know what it was. Huh? So the prison population doubled due to the arrest of drug dealers and their customers. Not just getting you for selling it. You who addicted, who going out here getting it, we're going to lock your ass up too. Right? Get in there. Huh? Get your ass up in there too. Huh? So 1 in every 4 black American males between the age of 20 to 29 was either incarcerated, on probation, parole by 1889. Let's say that again. 1 in every 4 black Americans of this time period, between the age of 20 and 29, either incarcerated, probation, parole by 1889. The highest incarceration rate in the world. By 1995, statistics had increased to nearly 1 in 3. Always on the move. This monster was eating. He was eating big time. Okay? So, again, what was it? What was it that did all that? Why they had to come with that? Going back to that, right? So they say the truth is in the numbers. You know, if you was to take that top line up there where it says 2 148,709,873. It says on the top of that says total population, right? Now, if you was to add up the numbers across the top, it's going to be about 10.7 to 8 million short for some odd reason. I don't know why, where it came up 10 million short. Do the math, you see it for yourself, right? It came up short. So, the issue becomes, well, just a coincidence, right? It is a coincidence. There was no targeting in none of that. That was just, it just happens. Yeah, same thing like now. Somebody anxious of trying to give you something. For what purpose? Everybody kind of figure out, well, why? Because they ain't never really told you the true numbers about nothing. Because it's always been undercounted. Because nobody really wants to count. Now that people are starting to, play politics, talking about entrepreneurship, talking about black media, talking about, the genie, got to put this genie back in the bottle or the gig gonna be up. There's some fact to chew on your January 2nd day, what they call heartbreak, end of heartbreak day. Because y'all sold yesterday, today you're on your way somewhere else. You can catch the analogy in there. Yesterday you were sold, today you're on somewhere else. So we on our way somewhere right now. Somebody got some plans. So we got to go back onto that thing that our ancestors knew. We got to get on that. We got to get on point on that. We're going to have to understand the game better, because you're going to have to realize John Henry Clark has said that you ain't got no friends. Once you realize that all these categories that people be using and talking about this, and because of people look a little bit different than you, and they from a different location geographically, that somehow they not the same. Well, I showed you something that told you people honorary in and they didn't accept it. Matter of fact, did any of y'all see the video? I got that video. Let me see. Let me hold on. Let me see if we can you pull that up? That one video. Because there was a video during the time I was taking off, sitting back waiting for this to come to fruition, because as you can see on my screen, I got 2021 up there, right? So let me see if I can pull this up. See if we can pull that up. Because this cat had said something. He said something to the fact that if you think what I'm saying, like some people may say, well, those people, they're not like. No, let me show you something. See if you can find that for me right quick. It would be right on time if you pull that up. Because I thought that was very, it happened, but I didn't see nobody really cover it. Everybody kind of like let that slide by. And I was like, wow, that was very telling, especially when I'm talking about here. Let me see if I can, let's see, can you find that? Because that one would be perfect to show, to give you in real time how somebody who was talking to somebody like yourself and the words that came out of his mouth was like, okay, all right, you take a minute for you to find that, right? Because if we should have it, because we pulled it but we didn't use it. What was the name of that? It should fall out if it's meant to be. If not, then it's not. No, that's not it either. It would be nice if we could find it, because everybody see. Because a lot of people may not have seen that. May not have seen that. Kind of, because so much has been happening to the fact that people were not a lot of people are not covering. And again, over here, we try to cover a lot of things that other people don't. And you see what they're doing as to really suppressing a lot of the stuff that's being talked about. So you have to be kind of mindful about what you're talking about out here. Man, come on. You're supposed to come up with that quicker than this, sir. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the title of it. So maybe if I explain, let's see if you can find it. Okay, look one more right there. Check again. That ain't it either. Okay, it was a store. I don't know. I'm gonna tell y'all and see if you can find it or not. But it was a young brother who was I think he's a YouTube personality, and he was it might have been Arizona. I think it was in Arizona he was in. And he was in front of the store. He's about to do some videotaping for his show. And an Asian dude walked up to him. Right? And he asked him, what was he filming? And he said, why are you here? He said, well, I'm doing it for my show and so forth. And he said, why it matter to you? He said, because it does. He said, I see your car plates over there. He's like, he said, but I'm from here. He said, you from where? Here? No, you're not from here. And he said, well, how you know? He said, because this is a no nigger zone. Did y'all see that? He was like, this is a no nigger zone. Right? It was an Asian dude saying that to him straight in his face like that. This is a no nigger zone. Now, wait a minute. The Asian said, the Chinese cat said, there's no nigger zone. So when I showed you honorary Aryan, when I tell you about honorary white, so then when you look at them and they tell you that Hispanics are white, Puerto Ricans are white, then who amongst you is black besides you? And then you got your own people, again, looking at the stats, talking about 757,208 were total blacks in 1790. Then they're talking about free and slave. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who was free is part of, but I'm saying there's a majority of that who is still versus those of the slaves to this day. Those are the ones who advocating and getting on there like they showed the other day. I read last night with Chris Rock talking about if I got a headache and Tylenol, right? He said if I got a headache and Tylenol make my headache go away, well, I care what's in it. They got rid of my headache. Huh? That's what he said, right? That if I take the Tylenol and if it kills my headache, what do I care about what's in it as long as it got rid of my headache? That's, you see what I'm saying? So when I talk about them 700 or 50 or 60,000 free blacks, he kind of like that free black, ain't he? Talking like that. Because see, slaves, we kind of see things like, we see Miss Ann fall out, right? When Miss Ann fell out, right? And then nobody won't even want to validate that or not. But Miss Ann fell out, and y'all still trying to say, and getting people to say, come on. So, so you got to ask yourself, why is it that they so gun-ho on giving you something? Does it have something to do with anything I just talked about here? Is somebody trying to reinstitute something that, again, going to using the foundation of, remember I said Heartbreak Day, and taking it all the way today and look at the situation we in today? Is it possible? You make that choice. You make that call. So I just want to come in today, get this one off for the beginning of the season, get myself ready to get back in here and get on this full work. I want to thank each and every one of them. Matter of fact, let me go and look up out here just in case somebody was out here. I got about 3 people still up in the house. Okay, that's all good. I got about 9 in the house. Okay. So thank each and every. Oh, so I got some people up in here. Let me see here. I'm sorry if I didn't get to. Let me go ahead and see who up I got up in here. So I got Leonard the Eula in here. Shalom fam. Yahya Abdul Kabir Bey, I thought you did already unsubscribed, my brother. Good to see you here. Black Beauty always was good to you, and hello, and Black Global Family to you as well. I got Azir Williams, make me feel like taking back all my happy Twitter. That's why I waited till the day after, because I know a lot of us didn't know that. I know a lot of us did not know that the tradition of this day was something dreading to our people. You know what I'm saying? We do things because, again, a system that got us in this position ain't here trying to really educate us. They're not here to tell us nothing. We have to figure it out on. Put it this way. I'm not going to knock people who got degrees and all that. I'm not knocking that. But you know that system is designed to be for you to be an intricate part in they shit. So those who don't and become self-taught, you learn more than you'll ever get going into that damn school. Am I right or am I wrong? You learn more on your own, learning about the things that you see important and the things you want, because they ain't going to tell you to empower you. You have to empower yourself. What they empower you to do is to help you to be a cog, spring, sprocket in their system. So it's incumbent on us to make sure that we do that. So again, 2021 and where we at right now, the uncertainty, what we moving forward to, and we can kind of see how this design and what this been and where it's going. And now saying your job gonna say, hey, you can't come back unless you take this. You can't come in the store if you get what I'm saying? So it's like you can see the vice tightening. So making people gonna be in the situations where it's like, okay, you got a choice to make. And a lot of us gonna succumb to it. We know that. And some of us gonna try to hold out. I had read the other night, just for FYI, that in Europe, they're making the people who don't take, like say if you don't take the shot, or the I guess say vaccination, right? Or inoculation, right? If you don't take that, they're going to put you in a database. Right? Why you got to do all that? What's all that about? Right? So you know how I say, what they do it in one place, eventually you're going to come over here and do the same damn thing. So, you know, so my job now is to just come on here and come tell the stuff that I get to see, just to keep people informed. So if you like what you hear, again, I didn't have many videos today because it was just going to be just on that topic and then to take you to where I wanted to. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Mr. Spencer 620 in the house. What's good to you, brother, as well? Yeah, I was back the whole time. I just was going to wait till afterwards. Black power, I hear black be the power, right? I get you, y'all. It wasn't that the fact I went on. I was on other people's shows and just talking, but I was just sitting back watching, man. I'm watching some of our brothers and sisters who are out here doing what they're doing, and I just think that what I try to come with is a remembrance. You see that I'm saying? Remembrance is freedom. If we don't remember, we ain't gonna never get out of this. Because the other people got a mantra saying never forget to forget. We got to not remember what done took place, and now thinking that people still not trying to put this shit back together. Somebody trying to perfect this shit. Let me just keep it 100. Somebody trying to perfect this shit from a techno situation. You understand? You know, they went from digital to analog, or analog to digital, right? Well, you think they ain't trying to perfect, because according, they say that the analog slavery had holes in it, right? But if you get it in the digital, you remember that movie with Sandra Bullock? What's the name of that damn movie? She's in that movie and they wiped her. It's kind of like Mr. Bergeron Channel. If you don't remember the name of my show, you ain't gonna never find it again. You're gonna be like, it was some show called something. You put that in there, it's gonna show you everything. You got to put my name entirety. I found something out the other day too. Let me tell y'all this. Same to you as well, brother. Yeah, Abdul Kabir Bey. Same to you. The other day I was looking at going through. I was going to actually put a collage of my videos of the past, and so I got this one thing, and I was looking at the fact that I was like, you know, some people had took some of my videos and they put them on Facebook, right? And the video that I did with the letter to the Pope, Now on there it says 53,000 or 53,000. It's been that way stuck 52,000 for a long time. It was stuck there, just like they did with the other ones that got 275,000. They stopped it, right? And then they eventually taken it off. So I seen it on Facebook. The same video had 1,000 likes, but the video don't exist anymore. So I'm like, wait a minute. So maybe what happened is them videos that I had did was a lot bigger than I thought it was, and those people came together and say, shut that nigga up. He's never to talk no more. So for y'all who still come over here and know that how I do what I do, I appreciate you. Again, you're hearing the saying now, day ones. Y'all know where that originally came from. Y'all was the day ones. You understand? Day one started from here. Everybody else now saying day one. You get what I'm saying? So day one started here. But the point is, I'm back, but everybody who got a platform to do it, everybody got to bring something, man, because it's only us. We ain't got. I just showed you. Everybody here white except us, and those who don't want to be us, them the free ones, right? The ones that's going to side with them to go against us. So remember that one time I showed y'all Neo, remember in the Matrix when he was fighting all them damn agents? That's us. We got to fight everybody to stay alive because they coming for us. That's just 100. Don't y'all see that coming? They squeezing this shit. They're squeezing all the juice out this lemon. So we're going to have to take that juice and try to make some lemonade out of this shit the best way we can. So that means it's going to have to be some kind of unification. If it's not all, some. But again, much love to all of y'all, those who stayed, and a lot of y'all might have got taken out because YouTube took about 40 subscribers in that time. I got it all documented. I just was watching them, just taking them away, and they do that, but it's okay. But again, I'm back, 221, and I got a lot of shit. A lot of shit I ain't even talk about, but I'm gonna have it as before with all the videos and all that. Got a lot of stuff on the upgrade. But today we're going to be there. But just going to be this January 2nd. Knowing a lot of y'all was all happy. And again, don't get it twisted. 2020, for how we counted here in this Western, this Western world, that is a motherfucking time to remember, man. And we don't know what this one. Now we got 364 to get through this one. And a lot of us ain't going to make it. And this is going to be, we got to be 100 about that. Not putting nothing on nobody. We have to be strong people. But we know, from this time forward, man, especially after whatever this going to happen this January 6th business, that's what it's all predicated. If you ask me, it's predicated on this January 6th. Whatever they pull on this thing is either going to get him out or he going to get back in. Because we all can see what done really took place. But as they say, if you can't prove it, then it's just hearsay. So January 6th is what this is going to be about, y'all. So we just going to have to just sit back and watch. But again, it don't change for us no way. Changing the guard is kind of like, let's say, the holiday of Heartbreak Day. We get one master get shipped to another one. It don't matter. We just have to go along with the game until we figure out something, how we're going to move. So again, I want to thank each and every one of y'all. Again, this is the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out once again. Until my next show, y'all. Peace and love. Again, to the next show, y'all. And to the next show.